Pennsylvania, a Marine sergeant, but he is not here representing the Marine Corps, but comes in as a National Golden Glove winner in 1968. These are heavyweights. Wilson at 216 pounds and Foreman 246 pounds. George Foreman of Houston, Texas, a 19-year-old, is thought by many to be a very promising young heavyweight. Of course, we've had a number of fine professional heavyweights in recent years who have Olympic gold medals on the mantle at home. And the two you mentioned most of all, of course, Lloyd Patterson and Muhammad Ali, who fought in the Olympics as Cassius Clay. Patterson, however, fought in the Olympics as a middleweight, and Muhammad Ali fought in the Olympics as a light heavy. George Foreman at 19 is still growing himself. Albert Wilson is 28 years of age. Patterson fight, live and in color by a satellite from Stockholm next week on ABC television. Starting at 2:15 Eastern Daylight Time. Foreman is wearing the white trunks. Albert Wilson of McKeesport, Pennsylvania, in the gold trunks and the light-colored headgear. Scoring on the wild swings at all. And Wilson missing that hard right as it bounced over the shoulder. Albert Wilson wearing the headgear with the white trim. Gold trunks. Referee Raleigh Schwartz moving the headgear up. It comes almost down over his eyes at times. 1964 Olympic heavyweight gold medalist, Joe Frazier. Joe's career in boxing, of course, far from fruition, though he already claims championship status. George Foreman and Albert Wilson in round number one. With the heavyweight division, George Foreman in the white trunks, Albert Wilson in the gold trunks and wearing the headgear with a light trim. Foreman of Houston, Texas, 222 pounds. Albert Wilson, 216 pounds. Round number two, evenly contested heavyweight bout. The winners from the boxing trials here in Maumee will join with an alternate in each of the weight divisions, and then three other boxers who will go along as sparring partners. The team coaches, Robert Golf of Washington, D.C., and we have a slip by Wilson. There will be no count. It was a slip. The assistant coach, Raymond Rogers of the U.S. Marine Corps. Raymond Rogers, the assistant boxing coach and the Marine coach, just recently awarded the Navy Cross for gallantry in Vietnam. Wearing the headgear that has the light trim on it. Raleigh Schwartz, who is in the ring with the fighters now, will be one of the officials, and Wilson sags and goes down from a thundering right hand thrown by George Foreman. Wilson George Foreman scores a knockout over Albert Herbert Wilson in the second round. Well, as you have seen, we have some young bombers to prepare for the Summer Olympic Games in boxing.
1968, George Foreman of the United States meets Giorgio Bambini of Italy in the semifinals of the heavyweight boxing competition in the Olympic Games. Let's take a look at George training for this important fight. Thus far in the boxing competition, George has made up for a lack of boxing finesse with murderous punching power. None of Foreman's qualifying bouts have gone the distance. George has worked very hard and is ready for this extremely important heavyweight Olympic semifinal. And now we go to round 3. George Foreman is wearing white. Giorgio Bambini of Italy in blue. The first 2 rounds were close, with Foreman's harder punching possibly giving him an edge in the judging. Here in round 3, Foreman continues to be the aggressor. Bambini of Italy appears to be tiring under the barrage of punches thrown by Foreman. Foreman looking for an opening to deliver those rock-crunching punches of his. A jolting right hand to the jaw, and Bambini sinks to the canvas. Bambini is dazed and hurt. The referee is counting, but it's all over. George Foreman of the United States advances to the finals of the heavyweight boxing competition in the 20th Olympics in Mexico with a third-round knockout of Italy's Giorgio Bambini.
Let's watch Foreman's quarterfinal bout 2 days ago. George comes out for round 3 against Alexe of Romania. Foreman is wearing the white trunks. Alexe is wearing red. During the first 2 rounds, Foreman methodically gained the judges' votes by throwing accurate lefts and rights to the head while staying out of trouble. Alexe is a strong southpaw fighter, has a good right-hand jab, which he used to great advantage in earlier contests, but he has been unable to score with it against Foreman. George has been completely devastating in his earlier bouts, making up a lack of speed with tremendous punching power. The referee warns Foreman. George is all business in there. George Foreman using those right-hand swings. The referee tells Alexe not to hold. Alexe's eye is cut badly. The referee is taking a close look at that eye. It's all over. The referee is stopping the fight with 43 seconds left in this third and final round. George Foreman the winner. Here is George preparing to meet Jonus Cepulis for the gold medal. Jonus Cepulis is from Russia. This is for the gold medal in the heavyweight division of the 19th Olympiad.
To Foreman the Olympian. George survived the early rounds of the 1968 games and made it to the gold medal round against Russian heavyweight Jonus Cepulis. He worked as a miner and tipped the scales at 220 pounds. It was a classic USA versus Soviet Union matchup. So let's go to Mexico City in the summer of 1968 to see a young, maybe 19-year-old George Foreman going for the gold medal.
The fighters move out for round one, fighting for the gold medal here in the 19th Olympiad. Foreman is 19 years old, 6 feet 3.5 inches tall. He is from Pleasantville, California, where he works as an instructor in a Job Corps center. This has to be the highlight of George's life as he goes right after the Russian Jonus Cepulis. George winging in those punches here in round one. Foreman will try to follow in the road taken by Joe Frazier, United States heavyweight who won the Olympic gold medal in 1964, and then turned professional and went on to capture the heavyweight championship of the world. Ripping lefts by both fighters. It's all action here in round one as George Foreman is going for a knockout. Ripping punches by George Foreman. Cepulis bleeding from the nose. George is throwing bombs in there. He's taking over from the more experienced Russian, Jonus Cepulis. A marvelous first round for George Foreman. The Russian looks like he's in trouble. And there's the end of the first round, a dynamite round for George Foreman. Cepulis wearily sits down in his corner. His second wipes the blood off of his face. George going right to work here at the beginning of the second round. Dynamite punches by George Foreman. Oh, a crisp left by George. Foreman is all over the Russian. A standing count by the referee. The fight will continue at the count of 9. Cepulis looks in very bad shape. George is going after the Russian. The referee tells the fighters to continue. The referee warns George for holding and hitting. Foreman throwing bombs in there. Ripping punches by George Foreman. He's all over the Russian. Cepulis looks all through. George pouring it on, and the referee stops the fight in the second round. It's all over. George Foreman wins the gold medal of the 19th Olympiad in Mexico City. Jonus Cepulis, very weary, a dejected loser. And there's George holding up the American flag in the center of the ring before thousands of impressed spectators and millions more of television viewers. An inspiring ending to Olympic boxing at the Mexico City 19th Olympiad.
Only at 187, Foreman at 219. Weldham quickly taking the lead in the bout, but Foreman pursuing. How much Foreman has progressed since his Olympic days remains to be seen. He was raw, unpolished, but thunderously powerful. The left jab particularly, but a fine right too. Weldham's left getting into Foreman's face. What Weldham must do, of course, against the bigger, stronger man is keep moving. Weldham in the red trunks, Foreman in the blue. Tremendous interest, really, in this young Olympic heavyweight champion, not for just for his deeds in the ring at Mexico City, but also for the action immediately after that you need hardly be reminded of. The carriage of the diminutive flag about the ring. The crowd made some noise as Weldham got a left in there. Pappy Galt next to me is motioning to Foreman, stick him, meaning keep that left out there, and George began to do it. We're a minute and 40 seconds into round one. Foreman with a right to the stomach to bring Weldham's guard down if he can. Now Foreman's beginning to use that left, and there's a good left jab to Weldham's face, and another, and another. There's the right. A right lead that caught Weldham on the left side of the jaw. We have a minute left in round one. I don't know if you heard Pappy Galt in the background there. Stick and jab, George, he said. Seconds left in round one. George Foreman in the blue trunks against Don Weldham in the red. The heavyweight Olympic champion's pro boxing debut here in Madison Square Garden. City. Professional boxing debut of George Foreman, Olympic heavyweight champion in the blue trunks at 219 against Don Weldham of Freeport, Long Island in the red trunks at 187. Sitting next to me, Pappy Galt, Olympic boxing coach, the man who made George Foreman an international figure. And I must say, in round one, Pappy, perfectly honestly, George looked nothing like he did when he defeated the Russian Cepulis in Mexico City.
He's a little nervous. He's a little nervous now, but he will come on. He's got to jab more. His jab got to work. His jab, then he comes with the jab, with a straight right, he's all right.
Pappy Gold, the Olympic boxing coach, with his evaluation of what George Foreman must do to get started against Weldham, and looked like he did in Mexico City against a much more experienced Russian fighter named Cepulis, whom he knocked all over the ring. Foreman is not waging the aggressive kind of battle he did in Mexico City. And I have to wonder, Pappy, if he's got some strategy for this fight that you might uniquely be aware of, even though you're not handling.
No, I don't think so. I think George is just tight right now, but he's getting a little better now. His jab's working all right.
Once again, Pappy Gold, Foreman's Olympic boxing coach. Foreman in the blue trunks, Weldham in the red. There was a good left hook by Foreman, who just looked over at Pappy Gold and this reporter when he connected with him. Funny, he's being managed now by Dick Sadler, who manages Sonny Liston, yet he looked over to Pappy Gold. A left by Weldham connected. And a right lead by Foreman that did no damage. We have 40 seconds left in this, the second round. Foreman blue trunks, Weldham red. So far, Foreman has done no damage to Weldham. A good left jab then, and another by Foreman. 20 seconds left in round two. Weldham with a left lead. Another, sticking and jabbing. Heavyweight boxing champion in the blue trunks, George Foreman, against Don Weldham of Freeport, Long Island. Foreman at 219, Weldham at 187. The first two rounds, a disappointing performance by Foreman, but now he's beginning to unload. According to his Olympic coach, Pappy Gold, sitting next to me, Foreman has been tight, not loose. His cornermen, manager Dick Sadler and Bobby Lewis, were talking to him vigorously between the second and third rounds. In fact, too many may have been talking to him too much at the same time. Foreman using the right lead that he used so effectively against the Russian Cepulis in Mexico City. Foreman now sticking with that left. Looks much better this round, much better. I emphasize George only because he became a national and international figure in his Olympic boxing contests, and because this is his professional debut. Weldham has had 11 fights, 5 victories, 4 defeats, 2 draws. Don't forget, tonight on ABC, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time, the coaches All-America game from Atlanta, Georgia, with the great intercollegiate football stars of the 1968 season. Now Foreman is belaboring him. He's got Weldham in trouble, and Weldham goes down, and he is a tired and beaten young man. The superior strength and weight of Foreman beginning to tell as a succession of rights following a left did it, and he is knocked out. George Foreman wins his first professional fight against a carefully, you can believe me, hand-picked and outmatched opponent. I'm going into the ring to talk with him. We'll be back in a moment.
Well, this guy was too awkward and running away too much. It makes the man look bad. But like I told him, I wanted to start with the one that would give me a fight. He did that much. Yeah. It made me, I didn't look as good as I am, but it was running.
Dick Sadler is saying off microphone, he didn't have no bum to beat, referring to the defeated opponent, Weldham. Your Olympic boxing coach, Pappy Gold, said you looked a little tight, a little tense in the beginning, weren't sticking and jabbing like you can.
Like I said, this guy was wild. I mean, this guy was, you know, something about him. He made me, you know, loose, tight. But nothing to it. A child can do it.
A good beginning for you. I want you to look down at that monitor. My hope is...
At ringside is our peripatetic chronicler of the boxing scene, Howard Cosell. Okay, Howard.
Thank you very much, Jim McKay. And Jim has told you very quickly about the two fights we'll be seeing here in the great showroom of the spanking new International Hotel in Las Vegas. Up in the ring right now is that young American who carried the flag about the ring in Mexico City when they won the gold medal in the heavyweight classification. You're looking at George Foreman right now. He's preparing to go against a fellow named Kid Hazleton. Now, maybe you never heard of Kid Hazleton, but most people have never heard of Kid Hazleton. He was born in London. He's had 7 professional fights. He's won 5 and he's lost 2. And he is 6 feet 7 inches tall, weighs, as you just heard the public address announcer say, only 189 pounds. George Foreman is in utterly superb condition. He weighs 214.5 pounds. He is 6 feet 3.5 inches tall. He is yet to be 21 years of age, and he appears to me, through the time that I've known him, to have developed, if he didn't have it to begin with, the dedication that will be necessary if he is in the ultimate to become the heavyweight champion of the world. Foreman has had 10 professional bouts since that day in Mexico City when he defeated Cepulis, the Russian. And this will be his 11th, and he will be fighting again because Dick Sadler, his canny manager, is keeping him working against just the right opponents as he keeps developing toward in the ultimate first-class contendership in the heavyweight division. So he'll be fighting next on December 16th at the Miami Beach Convention Hall against somebody named Levi Forty. When I heard about that, I thought quickly he might be related to our brilliant but diminutive producer, Chet Forty. Not so. This is George Foreman. He has a marvelous left, a truly powerful crunching left. He's got a good right, very strong in all departments. What he needs is polish. He's been learning how to slip punches. He's been learning how to move. He's been learning how to adjust to an opponent. And as he learns these things, I repeat, he is destined, I think, to become one of the great ones. Whether or not Hazleton can offer any opposition tonight remains to be seen. This bout will be starting momentarily. In Nevada, the referee does not join in the scoring of a fight. 3 judges score the fight, and the scoring system is on a 5-point must to the winner per round. There'll be a mandatory 8 count, 3 knockdowns within the round, and this fight will end the fight. That will not be true of the main event, Sonny Liston against Leotis Martin. We'll talk more about that later. And counting continues here in Nevada after the bell. The referee is named Dave Pearl. The judges Art Lurie, Mike Petrovich, and Ralph Mosa. Counting on the knockdowns will be Buzz Massa. The timer is Ray Lassard, and of course there is a physician in attendance, Dr. Donald Romeo, an experienced boxing physician. We await the start of this bout. There's the bell for round 1, and it's George Foreman in the blue trunks and Kid Hazleton fighting out of Los Angeles in the red trunks. Foreman, so far, as you can see, very cautious, but watch that left. Hazleton was hurt a little bit with the first left to the upper chest. There, he was hurt with that right to the midsection, as you saw. He's in trouble right now, immediately. Bob Kid Hazleton, a Londoner fighting out of Los Angeles against George Foreman, our Olympic gold medalist. Foreman belaboring Hazleton, and down he goes. Hardly an inspiring opponent, but once again, this is the way fighters are developed in boxing. The bout is stopped. My clock makes it 1 minute, 27 seconds of the first round. I think we'll hop into the ring to talk a bit with young George Foreman as he wins his 11th professional fight, but not a bout that will remain distinguished in his pugilistic career yet to come. knockout, George Foreman. George, stay up there. George, wait up there, please.
George, who's that fella in there with you, George?
How will I know when With my IB unconnected, you'll have to signal me.
Howard.
All right, Georgie. First, let Dick Sadler put that robe around you to keep you warm. But as a matter of fact, I don't see how you could have worked up any warmth. The opponent was so easy. Isn't that true?
Not easy. I was just lucky. I was just hard on him. He wasn't easy. He's a good professional fighter. And I won.
You sure did win. My clock made it 1 minute, 27 seconds of the first round. But honestly, Dick, the cold fact is, and I think we can tell the truth as we bring in Dick Sadler, the manager, you're bringing George along the right way, the right opponents, until he develops the skills that will make him a frontline contender. Isn't that true?
Well, I appreciate your thinking. A lot of people have different opinions, Hard, but we do the best that we can, and it'll take George a little time, and there's no shortcuts to success, and nothing but time will make it visible.
How much time will it take? Oh, we're looking at your knockout now. Take a look at the monitor, George, and talk over it.
Well, I'm just stalking the guy. He's a little lurid. I'm not warm yet, so I'm trying to knock his punches down and give him what I learned. I'm getting closer and closer, and he threw a hook there, which...
Watch you come in with a left to the upper chest now.
Well, he's tall, and I got to aim low. I got to aim, where I can hit. So I'm parrying the punches, sort of like Jack Johnson. Notice that jab. Let's go.
Now you're really giving it to him.
Well, I got a couple lucky punches in that time.
That one to the midsection really hurt him.
That hurt him. I think that's what won the fight. Those were a couple of wild punches, but they're in the right place. Yeah, this guy really came to fight. But I was the lucky.
I don't know why you keep telling me you're lucky. You're just much too good for that lad. I congratulate you on the victory. And I tell you this, George, the way you're coming along, it may not be too much longer before you'll be fighting the very good ones. Good luck.
Hey, thanks a lot, Howard.
George Foreman, of course, the Olympic gold medalist who had such an easy time knocking out Kid Hazleton in 1 minute 27 seconds of the first round. Coming up, a man you're going to be very curious about seeing after all these years. Charles Sonny Liston, and he'll be going against Leotis Martin. We'll be back with more action at ringside in just one moment.
Months later, on February 16, 1970, a young and undefeated George Foreman was back at the Garden, getting his first real test as a fighter. The main event that night featured Joe Frazier's defeat of Jimmy Ellis for the heavyweight title that had been stripped from Muhammad Ali. The undercard featured the raw, hard-punching Foreman, who was 15-0 with 13 knockouts. Foreman's opponent was the Argentine bull Gregorio Peralta, a veteran of 85 fights and the former South American heavyweight champion. Peralta had launched his career some 14 years earlier when Foreman was a young hoodlum on the streets of Houston. Foreman had been criticized in previous bouts for throwing wide, wild blows. Let's see if George listens to his critics and makes any adjustments as we go to Madison Square Garden for the undercard battle between George Foreman and Gregorio Peralta, February 16, 1970.
If you're viewing in color, Peralta in the white trunks, Foreman in the blue and black and white. Peralta in the light trunks, Foreman in the dark. Foreman at 213, Peralta 198. Peralta, the seasoned fighter, 9th rated among the heavyweights, the first testing challenge for the 21-year-old Foreman, who has only fought 15 times professionally but won 13 by way of knockout. Peralta with 85 bouts under his belt, 73 victories, 5 defeats, 7 draws. Peralta will use his experience trying to stay away from the bigger, stronger, younger man. Foreman with a left that is like a lamppost, a recurring piston, if you will. White trunks, Foreman blue. Excited about this fight because it's by far the most testing challenge the young Olympic champion has had professionally up till now. Couldn't have expected otherwise because of Peralta's ranking and because of his experience. Again, a near slip by Peralta. The left, a glancing left by Foreman as Peralta was off balance. Did no damage. Some blood over Foreman's right eye. It appears to be yes, there is a slit just over Foreman's right eye. Perhaps you can detect it. Does not appear serious at this moment unless the flow of blood starts to go down into the eye. Now Foreman is belaboring Peralta, and for the first time Peralta appears a little tired. Just 10 seconds left in round 5, with Peralta fighting back, but obviously tired. Blood over Foreman's right eye. Good combination by Foreman. Coming in strongly against Peralta now. But Peralta taking the punches. Once Willie Pastrano, never noted as a puncher, stopped Peralta in the 5th round, but that was because of cuts. Peralta has always been a determined competitor. Tough fight for George Foreman. Unofficial scoring around ringside. Very close. Foreman slightly in the lead. Seasoned Peralta doing just about what the matchmaker Teddy Brenner expected. Putting up a whale of a battle against the younger, stronger man, giving away 15 pounds, but using his experience to tie Foreman up on the inside, never to give Foreman the leverage for the thunderous lefts and rights that he was able to use as an amateur in his first 15 professional fights. Now Foreman got in a good left and a right and hurt Peralta. Peralta was hurt. Foreman going at him but not putting him down. But Peralta hurt. Peralta calling on all his guile, trying to tie Foreman up inside. Foreman pushing him off. Crowd sensing the kill. Peralta now in the corner, as you see. Foreman flailing away at him and not landing the one good punch that could put him down. Truth, it's a tired George Foreman, and his punches don't have the power that they had earlier, and he just can't put Peralta down. Little more than a minute left in this, the 9th round. Peralta on the attack now. Not doing any damage, but Peralta turning aggressive. This is what I meant by Peralta being a dogged competitor. It was a good left by Foreman, but Peralta right in there, and a good right too. 10 seconds left of an exciting round with Foreman belaboring Peralta, but Peralta gamely fighting back. The only sign of blood in the fight was Foreman's blood. The crowd yells as Peralta lands a right, as Peralta attempts to buffet Foreman with a couple of more rights. Foreman's blood above the right eye. A minor slit. Never amounted to anything up to this point. Best round in the fight for Foreman. The 9th round. The one just over. We're in the 10th. We have about 2 minutes left in the fight. Scoring on a round system, supplemental point system if the rounds are even. This is a town for underdogs. It's the city of the Mets and the city of the Jets, and they love to see the underdog come on. Foreman looks really tired to this report. Really tired. He is doubtless in the lead in the scoring, but you never really know. The fight is not that widely disparate. Foreman with a good left and right combination to the head. Drawing upon inner resources, trying to end it if he can. Less than a minute left in the fight. That, in fairness to Foreman, he was off balance. He was not hit. He was not hurt. Crowd yelling. The because of their feeling for the underdog. This has been one well of a 10-rounder, even before the heavyweight championship fight. Seconds left in the bout. The referee and the judges have rendered their decision. Now Johnny Addy.
Tony Castellano, 5-4, 1 even. Foreman. Jack Boone, 7-3, Foreman. Referee Bob Pound, 9-1, Foreman. Winner by unanimous decision, and still undefeated, George Foreman. refereeing officials assigned by the New York State Athletic Commission. The judges, Jack Gordon and Tony Rossi. The timekeeper, Fred Abatello. Counting for the knockdowns, Johnny Colan. Referee for the main event, Arthur Mercanti. 10 rounds. Introducing from Hayward, California, he's wearing red trunks. He weighs 218. George Foreman. His opponent from Toronto, Canada, he's wearing blue trunks. He weighs 214 and a half, recognized as the heavyweight king of Canada, George Chuvalo. Main event, 10 rounds. He doesn't want to.
Okay, that's all right, fine. Good evening, George and George. You both know the rules of the New York State Athletic Commission. However, let's briefly review some of the more important rules. In the event of a knockdown, you must take an 8 count. 3 knockdowns in 1 round will automatically end the contest. When I say break, you must break. Now, let's have a nice, clean fight. Shake hands now. Come out, boxing.
Here's round 1 of this 10-round heavyweight bout. George Foreman on the left in the red trunks, if you're watching in color. George Chuvalo in the blue trunks with the red border. Arthur Mercanti, the referee. They're wearing 8-ounce gloves. The count will continue at the bell. If a man is floored, he must take a mandatory 8 count. And if a man is floored and 3 times in a round, he is considered knocked out. Now, it's going to be very hard for Chuvalo to stay away from that hard left jab, and it is a hard left jab that Foreman has. It just got in there. And again. Chuvalo's best is his left hook, and he got that in twice to the body. And Mercanti is telling the boys not to get too rough. Imagine that. Both are very strong. It isn't often you see Chuvalo using a left jab. Maybe they taught him something. Chuvalo figures to go to the body to slow down the younger opponent, 11 years younger at 21. Foreman to make use of that left jab. A minute to go in round 1. Foreman is keeping Chuvalo off balance. Chuvalo can't get set here. A good right hand by Chuvalo. And those are pretty good bombs. 10 seconds to go in round 1. Back in the corner of George Foreman, we see his manager and trainer, who has brought him along so well and so capably, Dick Sadler. He's on the right-hand side. And his cousin Sandy Sadler, the former featherweight champion of the world, is on the left-hand side. And Bobby Lewis, the coach of the New York Jolts of the International Boxing League, they won that title. Bobby Lewis is in the center. And Dick Sadler is scrubbing off the face of George Foreman, who had a very good first round. There isn't any question about who won that first round. The only hope on the Chuvalo's part could be that Foreman will punch himself out. Now, there's the corner of George Chuvalo. We'll tell you who's in that corner a little later. Round 2 at Madison Square Garden. The first round was a big one for Foreman. Chuvalo must hope that he'll punch himself out. Foreman making good use of his reach advantage. He's giving Chuvalo no rest. Chuvalo apparently having trouble with his breathing. Two minutes left in this round. Chuvalo's best punch is his left hook to the body, and the question is, can he get it in there often enough? A good one to the head by Chuvalo. Chuvalo a little bit puffy around the left eye. There you can see the puffiness around Chuvalo's eyes. A minute to go in this round. Time has to be on Chuvalo's side. The first two rounds aren't. That is an angry mouse under the left eye of Chuvalo. Ten seconds to go in round two. In the corner with George Chuvalo on the left-hand side, with the George Chuvalo on the shirt, is Irving Ungerman, a good Toronto businessman, his manager. Facing him head-on is Ted McWhorter, his trainer, and on the outside, the veteran handler, Freddie Brown. Now, George Chuvalo has had rough going in these first two rounds, and it will be a surprise to me if that left eye doesn't close completely, because it is nearing the closing point right now. If Chuvalo is going to pull this fight out, and I use the word pull out advisedly, he's got to do something drastic and do it fast, because that left jab of George Foreman's is as good a jab as we've seen since the days of Joe Louis. Round three at Madison Square Garden. George Foreman in the red trunks, George Chuvalo in the blue trunks. Foreman's the taller of the two by about 3 inches. Foreman, for all of his inexperience, he's only had 21 fights, all of which he's won, is going about this job in a methodical, workmanlike way. And he's taking his time, unhurried, just piling up the points. Chuvalo staggered. Chuvalo has never been off his feet. 2 minutes left in the round. It's an awesome battering that Chuvalo is taking. He is now spitting blood. Chuvalo being battered in his own corner. And Irving Ungerman, his manager, is asking the referee to stop it. He's climbing into the ring. The referee hasn't heard him. It's all over. It's all over. Arthur McCanty has stopped the fight. Irving Ungerman, to give him credit, his manager was climbing in there. There's the winner, George Foreman. Irving Ungerman wanted the fight stopped. It was no contest almost from the beginning. Chuvalo is protesting to the referee, but I believe the referee did the right thing for boxing and for Chuvalo. No question about it. We'll have an interview with the winner and probably have these rounds replayed. Here's Johnny.
That's about the time. 1 minute, 41 seconds of the third round. The winner by a TKO, George Foreman.
Here. That's Bobby Lewis on the left, George Foreman, Dick Sadler, and Sandy Sadler. Come on, let's get him over here, John. Come on, let's come over here, fellows. Here's the loser, George Chuvalo, and the winner, George Foreman. George, would you mind turning to our cameras? You never really got started, did you?
Not really got started. No, I don't think the fight should have been stopped either. I got hit with a few shots. I wasn't hurt.
Well, you know, I think your manager was climbing in there. Irving, weren't you going to ask him to stop the fight? Yeah, you were halfway up there. Here's Irving Ungerman. And, George, maybe it looked different from where you were.
Well, I wasn't hurt. I mean, I was still coming on. It took me a while. I thought it was taking for me a while to get warmed up, but there's no reason for them to stop the fight.
George, good luck to you. We'll be talking to you later on, Irving. Here's George Foreman and Dick Sadler, his manager, and Dick and George, Bobby Lewis, Sandy Sadler, former featherweight champion. George, you must be very happy. This is the biggest.
Well, that was a good win. I was fighting a good fighter, and I got a chance to work some of the things I've been practicing. And I got lucky, like always.
Oh, come on, you weren't lucky. You sound like Joe Louis when you say I got lucky.
That's called Joe Louis, the champ.
Did the fight go the way you figured it would go, George?
Oh, yeah, I didn't want to kill nobody, but, you know.
Listen, do you want to take a look down at our monitor here? And we'll have a replay of it, Dick and George, and maybe you'll tell us something about the fight. Can you see it down there? All right, I think. Here's Dick Sadler. Now, here it is. This is round 3. Round 3,
well, George is using his jab, which has been his effective weapon. The guy was missing a lot, and no power behind his punches of Chuvalo. And consequently, he looked high. He was quite off balance. No power there. He's winging them desperation punches. And the fact is that George was in complete control of the fight with his left hand and getting off combinations. And then when the boy got hurt, there's no sense for what little money they're getting. I don't care if we win, lose, or draw. I don't want to see nobody get hurt in the ring.
Dick, I got a good question. You know, all the managers. Well, we'll wait till this round is over here. George, suppose you tell us about the round. It's near the end now.
George Bellows putting on a good fight, and I'm going to have to move him and wait, get myself into control.
Now
a good combination.
You staggered him in your own
yeah. feminine and good body punches and good head punches. And the referee is great. I got good on him, got a chance to get some punches. He's defenseless now. And I could do that all week, I think. And he's a game guy. He should be number 1, and I should be number 2, I feel.
Oh, not now.
Oh, look at that punches he's taking, man. Good jab.
It looks like a long round, doesn't it, George?
Oh, yeah, my manager and me working on a lot of things, and that's part of it. Hooks, good hooks.
Now, this is where the referee is about to come in and stop it.
You notice I'm in control. And
did you think it should be stopped,
If he had any defense, he has nothing off it.
He was bleeding out his mouth. He was bleeding out his mouth, which is...
He's bleeding bad in his mouth, and he's bleeding bad from the nose, and he offered no defense. So
we're going to see it in slow motion in a moment. Dick, I got to ask you a question. You know, the manager...
Do you mind if I say to a great guy who's trained a lot of great amateurs, Doc Broders in Las Vegas, California, he was responsible for taking me to the Olympics, and he's a great trainer, still in the process of developing young fighters.
Happy Galt?
Good? No, Doc Broders.
Doc Broders.
And I'd like to thank all the people who write all the good letters.
Let's watch this in slow motion first.
Sandy Saddler telling me, oh.
Right. Yes, thank you.
I have Bobby Lewis and Sandy Saddler, my coach.
I got to ask you a question. You know, managers always use the editorial we. You know, we're going to win this or we're going to stop him. And you just said that George Chuvalo couldn't punch. How would you know? You didn't get hit.
He didn't throw any punches, and he wasn't offensive. He didn't put up any offense. That's what I mean. I know it's Don, but when we say it's a plural because every punch he takes, I'm with him.
George, one more question. You'll probably fight Jerry Quarry. What about that?
Right now I'm just in training. My manager's still teaching me, and I'm trying to learn to be one of the better fighters.
Good luck.
And I'm not particular nobody.
Good luck.